3 minutes before Zookeeper gets ripped apart by 7 wolves. In the vast wilderness of Halliburton Forest and Nature Reserve, a young wildlife biologist named Patricia Wyman embarked on her dream job. Little did she know that her passion for North American gray wolves would lead her down a path of unimaginable horror. This is the tragic tale of Patricia Wyman's final moments, as she found herself encircled by a pack of captive wolves. At the age of 24, Patricia had always been captivated by the enigmatic nature of wolves. When she secured a position as a caretaker at Halliburton Forest, her excitement knew no bounds. The forest, spanning 100,000 acres and encompassing countless trees and lakes, offered an unparalleled opportunity for ecotourism and wildlife research. Accepted into the team with open arms, Patricia's heart swelled with joy. She was thrilled to work with the North American gray wolves, whose presence within the reserve aimed to educate the public and preserve the beauty of these majestic creatures. The wolves were kept in a specially designed wolf center, where visitors could observe them through one-way glass, allowing for a glimpse into their natural behavior. Halliburton Forest emphasized minimal human interaction with the wolves, striving to keep them as wild as possible. Only during feeding time did the wolves catch a glimpse of their human caretakers. Patricia respected these guidelines and understood the importance of maintaining a safe distance. But fate had a different plan for Patricia Wyman. On that fateful day, as she entered the wolf enclosure alone, little did she know that danger lurked in the shadows. In the blink of an eye, a pack of captive wolves closed in around her, their eyes gleaming with an instinctual hunger. Patricia Wyman's journey into the world of wolves began long before she set foot in Halliburton Forest. Freshly graduated from the University of Guelph in Ontario, she carried with her a passion for wildlife biology. Little did she know that her newfound career path would lead her to face the darkest corners of her dreams. As Patricia arrived for her induction, her supervisor wasted no time in warning her about the inherent dangers of working with wolves. These majestic creatures had spent their entire lives in captivity, untouched by human hands. The reserve deliberately kept them wild, maintaining their natural instincts within a vast 15-acre enclosure. With a sense of trepidation, Patricia absorbed the warnings of her supervisor. The wolves, although in captivity, retained their timidity and shyness, mimicking their wild counterparts. The staff at Halliburton Forest had never encountered any alarming behavior from these animals, keeping a respectful distance from the humans that cared for them. Patricia quickly familiarized herself with the daily routine that awaited her at Halliburton Forest. Her responsibilities included not only caring for the wolf pack, but also educating the public and delivering informative talks. She embraced her role with passion, hoping to bridge the gap between humans and these elusive creatures. Day after day, Patricia immersed herself in her work, tirelessly striving to convey the essence of wolf conservation to the eager visitors. Her talks echoed with enthusiasm as she captivated her audience with tales of the pack's behavior and their intricate social dynamics. Beyond her educational endeavors, Patricia's duties extended to the meticulous care of the wolf pack. She ensured their well-being, feeding them with a sense of reverence and respect. Her bond with these creatures grew stronger with each passing day as she witnessed their beauty and resilience firsthand. Patricia was taken into the wolf enclosure, where she was shown the ropes of feeding these magnificent creatures. The following day, she was entrusted with the task of feeding them alone. As Patricia unlocked the gate and stepped inside, an uneasy feeling washed over her. Something felt amiss. Patricia walked purposefully to the spot where she was to dump the food. However, as she turned to leave, her gaze locked with the alpha male wolf. Alarm bells rang in her mind as she observed his unusual stance and unsettling demeanor. The alpha male wolf was not like the others. He seemed to be sizing her up, eyeing this new member of staff with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. That evening, Patricia returned home and shared the events of her day with her fiancé. Excitement filled her voice as she spoke of her new role, but she couldn't help but mention her apprehension concerning the alpha male. However, being new and not wanting to cause trouble, she kept her concerns to herself. The staff at the sanctuary had never raised concerns about the alpha male before, leaving Patricia to question her instincts. Nonetheless, she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Something had triggered a worrisome change in the wolf's behavior. With her expert knowledge of wolf behavior, Patricia's observations were not to be taken lightly. On April 18, 1996, Patricia entered the wolf enclosure once more, but this time, her purpose was different. The wolves were only fed every 5 days, and no one knows why Patricia chose to enter the enclosure alone on that particular day. The events that unfolded next remain a mystery. Chief Investigator Eric Klinghammer pieced together the limited information available. Patricia unlocked the gate, its metal framework clanging, alerting the wolves to her presence. She entered the enclosure, stepping over fallen trees as she searched for the wolf pack. Soon enough, she stumbled upon 5 large adult wolves lying in the grass, their eyes already fixated on her, their senses heightened. The wolves stood up and pricked their ears upon seeing Patricia approach. Normally, they would hesitate or flee when encountering a person in their territory, but not that day. Patricia found herself surrounded, her heart pounding with fear as the wolves closed in on her. Frozen in place, she was trapped. Patricia must have felt an overwhelming surge of fear and panic as the wolves advanced. Her adrenaline surged as she sensed the signs of an imminent attack. She desperately tried to decide whether to stand her ground or retreat slowly. But before she can make a move, the wolves moved closer, circling her with a predator's precision. Patricia took a step backward, her eyes wide with terror. In her haste, she tripped over a fallen tree, crashing to the ground. That single misstep became her tragic downfall. The alpha male seized the opportunity, lunging at Patricia, its jaws clamping onto her body. As she lay on the ground, the pack joined in, a frenzy of teeth and claws tearing at her flesh. Patricia fought valiantly, attempting to fend off the relentless assault, but the pack's sheer numbers overwhelmed her. Each wolf, weighing up to 175 pounds or 80 kilograms, possessed a formidable strength. Their teeth, designed to subdue and kill their prey, inflicted devastating damage on Patricia's vulnerable body. Patricia's resilience began to wane. She felt herself growing weaker, her body racked with pain. Desperately, she tried to shield her neck and head, but her efforts were futile. The relentless onslaught continued, her lifeblood staining the earth. Patricia's life was tragically taken that day, lost at the ferocity of the wolf pack. Patricia Wyman's dream job had abruptly turned into a nightmare on what should have been her 4th day at the reserve. The tragic and brutal end to her passion and dedication left a lingering shock and horror that would forever haunt those who discovered her lifeless body. It was during the afternoon when 2 employees stumbled upon the harrowing scene. Patricia's lifeless form lay before them, a sight that shattered their hearts. Overwhelmed with shock, they immediately contacted the Ontario Provincial Police, who wasted no time in responding to the distress call. 2 officers arrived at the wolf enclosure, their weapons drawn, ready to confront the unknown dangers that lay within. With caution and trepidation, they approached Patricia's body, taking note of the wolves standing guard nearby. Contrary to their gruesome expectations, the wolves had not consumed her entirely. Bite marks adorned her limbs, but her torso remained largely untouched. As the officers neared Patricia's lifeless form, a chilling realization dawned upon them. One wolf, in an unmistakable display of aggression, lowered its head, fixed its intense gaze upon the officers, and emitted a deep, menacing growl. It was clear that the wolf perceived them as a threat to its claimed kill. Soon, another wolf joined the standoff, followed by yet another. The officers found themselves encircled by the very creatures they had come to confront. With the odds stacked against them and unsure of the wolves' intentions, the officers made a split-second decision. They fired a couple of warning shots into the air, the deafening cracks echoing through the enclosure. Startled and momentarily disrupted, the wolves scattered, retreating into the depths of their enclosure. Seizing the opportunity, the officers quickly exited the area and called for additional support. Moments later, more officers arrived at the scene, their presence bolstered by a sense of urgency and responsibility. 6 brave officers entered the wolf paddock, their mission to recover Patricia's lifeless remains. With heightened vigilance, they approached her body, their every move echoing the lingering sorrow that permeated the enclosure. Miraculously, their task was completed without further incident, allowing them to carefully retrieve Patricia's lifeless form from the clutches of the enclosure. As the investigation unfolded, Chief Investigator Eric Klinghammer, a seasoned expert with over 25 years of experience studying and working with wolves, offered his insights into the perplexing circumstances surrounding Patricia Wyman's tragic demise. Drawing upon his extensive knowledge of wolf behavior and previous instances of attacks on humans, both in the wild and in captivity, Klinghammer began to piece together the puzzle. Klinghammer hypothesized that the reason the wolves had not consumed Patricia's body was rooted in their instinctual avoidance of unfamiliar food. Through years of observation and understanding the nature of these majestic creatures, he surmised that they were accustomed to their regular diet and were hesitant to deviate from it. It was a heartbreaking realization that Patricia, A young and passionate woman had tragically lost her life while pursuing her greatest passion. The allure of witnessing the wolf's behavior up close may have driven her to venture into the enclosure, innocently seeking a deeper connection with these captivating creatures.